there, campers. Welcome to Camp Video Games. This is a podcast that covers video games and their multimedia adaptations. And today we are talking about Terminator 2D No Fate. I'm Junior Camp Counselor Sean, and with me is Junior Camp Counselor Josh.
Hey, what's up, campers? That's right. We flipped the script for the first time, I believe, in which we've looked at the film first and then the video game. And the reason we did this is because when we initially had this idea, it was like October, and now it's February as we record this. It's been a very busy winter here. However, so there should be episodes out now about us discussing the Terminator 1 and 2 films. And we were like, by the time we've done those episodes, this new Terminator game, 2D No Fate, will be out. Both we and the developers pushed that back a little bit.
Thanks to the tariffs.
Yeah, so
not ironically.
This game was supposed to come out in October. Then it got pushed back to November and then December. I just didn't get around to playing it till throughout January because it's been crazy. But we're finally here. We finally gotten to experience Terminator 2D No Fate at a price tag of $30. You guys, Silksong, one of the greatest video games of all time, nearly phantom dropped for $20. I got 20 more times the amount of gameplay out of it than I did this.
Along those lines, you can buy a chessboard for about $10
and play thousands of years
for the rest of your life. Money is fake.
That is true. But I do still need it to pay rent. So if you could recognize what the value of your game is a little more keenly and awarely in the future, Reef Entertainment. I don't know if that's the developer or the publisher, but wow, that was a steep price for what they delivered.
It was developed by Bitmap Bureau.
Oh, okay.
Which is some blokes over in
Across
the Queen's country.
There's your problem.
Yeah. How many shillings does this game cost us?
These guys eating bangers and mash. What's the value of the pound of the dollar anymore? It is. That's about 30 quid, ain't it?
Isn't it? Oh man. Okay. Terminator 2. One of the best movies ever made.
Absolutely.
Go back, listen to our discussion of that movie. It's very apparent that we are big fans of the work of James Cameron. Is he on the list?
Is he what?
Is he on the list?
Absolutely not. I think I would have known by now.
Yeah.
We're recording this a week out from the latest file dump of one, a guy from Florida hung out at Mar-a-Lago quite a lot. Anyways, I don't think our dear boy James Cameron is on any of that stuff, but I could be proven wrong.
Yeah, I'm just glad that with the releases finally out, I finally have some closure on what happened to my old pal from Xbox Live, Jeffy Sex 2420 6969.
Oh yeah, I miss playing with him.
I miss him. He was so good at Fortnite.
Sure. Anyway,
I've never played Fortnite.
We're here to talk about Terminator 2D No Fate, again, developed by Bitmap Bureau, published by Reef Entertainment. Two companies that honestly were not on my map before this game.
They did some interesting things that actually did come across my desk here at Camp Video Games. So Bitmap Bureau, that's hard for me to say for some reason. They do retro throwback like revivals.
Yes.
And they were responsible for a game called Xenocrisis, which it looks like kind of a remake of Maximum Carnage, the arcade arena shooter. And I believe they even released it physical media as a working N64 cartridge, which I thought was quite
fun.
Cool. I love when we get those types of
that's like straight up nerd stuff that I'm into. Yeah. I'm here for that.
So Bitmap Bureau.
Yeah.
Maybe if I say it with a British accent, it'll be
I will say I think that dedication to the old styles, to sort of the preservation of a certain era of video game is probably my greatest critique and issue with Terminator 2D No Fate. Uh,
Go off, King.
I think this is a game that has a very grand and ambitious vision that does not execute as well as I think they could have. That's sort of my overall 10,000 foot view review of the game.
Yeah. To get right into, I guess, what Terminator 2D No Fate did for me was it reminded me of why there hasn't been a very good Terminator game up to this point, because the scope is so grand, but also like laser focused on what makes Terminator 2 specifically like so wonderful. And Terminator 2D No Fate, I'll call it T2D. Let's call it that for short.
Sure.
T2D is a love letter to the film and to the fan base, with a lot of fun little nods to other Terminator video games, and with just, I mean, it's a shot for shot demake of Terminator 2 in the style of Super Contra 4 as a gameplay reference. Like it's a run and gun, except if you're playing as Sarah Connor, where I was not able to run as she shot.
Oh,
come on.
I am probably my number one critique of the gameplay is that in 2026 we cannot run in a run and gun
now
for 80% of the game.
Okay, good, because in the future John Connor can run and gun.
Yes.
What's the deal?
But not Sarah.
Did Sarah forget to teach him that in New Mexico when they were prepping for the apocalypse? I don't know. Okay, but
I want to backtrack to what you were saying about how it's in this love letter to all of these materials that they included a love a little bit too much, in my opinion, for the original like 16-bit Terminator games. That's the other greatest weakness I found in this game, is when it wanted to stay faithful and say, hey, remember this from Terminator 2 Judgment Day for Super Nintendo? And I'm like, I had forgotten it until you reminded me, for good reason. Because they pull some qualities from those early games that were not worth preserving. It is makes a not fun gameplay experience at times.
Yeah. As a fan of Terminator 2, and I watched it twice in one day with no problem when I was preparing for our discussion of the movie, I was like, I was almost like impatient with the cutscenes that this game like introduces, which seems to be the main point of this game, is that look, we took Terminator 2 and we turned it into a Super Nintendo cutscene. That's, I mean, the illustrations are great.
Right.
The likeness of the actors is pretty spot on for most of the games, and for most of the game, I'm sorry. And it's done. It's almost like, hey, if you haven't seen Terminator 2 in a while, but you want to also like be a part of the action, here, throw $30 at this Brit.
So I, like on screen right now, I'm showing my first playthrough. In which I enjoyed all that. And we'll get to this, that you need to play it through a few times to get the full experience.
3 times, I believe.
Yeah, after the first playthrough, I'm just blasting through these cutscenes. They were exactly what you said, is that the first time through, I'm like, oh, that's cute. That's very lovingly rendered. And then after that, I'm like, this does nothing for me. I'm blasted through. I just want to shoot. Just let me run and gun.
Yeah.
Except I'm not allowed to do them both at the same time if I'm playing as a woman for some reason.
For some reason. What is that? Is that like their brains aren't shaped right?
I don't know what you're trying to say here with that design, but it's bizarre.
Josh, you want to talk through the levels of Terminator 2D No Fate?
I don't know about all of them individually.
No, not all of them. I want to specifically talk about the first few levels, because this is the most exciting part for me as a fan of Terminator 2.
I think I know where you're going.
It's filling in the blanks of what happens in between Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. Why did Sarah Connor end up in the Pescadero mental hospital? Why is John Connor in foster care? This does it. It tells you. It's like, oh, okay. For some reason, John Connor gets kidnapped by a hilariously buff villain named Bandit Bill. I'm sorry, Bandit Bob.
Bandit Bob's back.
Which I think is a reference to why John Connor later in the movie introduces the T-800 to I don't remember Sarah's Mexican family's name, but John Connor introduces the T-800 as Uncle Bob. And I think that's a reference to what, because John Connor gets kidnapped by Bandit Bob because he sees that Sarah has a lot of guns that they could take from her. And here's a piece of advice. If somebody has a lot of guns, you shouldn't antagonize them. It's just a little life tip here from Camp Video Games.
Yeah.
If they are preparing to stockpile fully automatic weapons and explosive rocket-propelled grenade launchers and grenades and missiles and stuff, don't mess with them. They're waiting for it. They're hoping you mess with them. It's a bad idea to antagonize people with a arsenal.
Yeah. Well said. Remember that Bundy guy out in that ranch that the government came for?
Oh, I've been hearing a lot about that guy ever since all of the fun stuff the federal government's been doing to its citizens.
Yeah,
lately.
a lot of people thinking about going full Bundy these days.
Yeah.
Going, well, maybe he had a point.
At first, I thought you meant Ted Bundy. I was like,
Not
I don't
in
think he
that
had some
case.
great
That guy did
ideas.
not have
That
a
guy
good
was
point.
actually kind of not chill. But the cowboy Bundy, yeah, he's pretty cool.
It's like
Not Al Bundy either.
It's like, do you think he was preparing for Skynet? Because also, as we've been recording this series, our dear leader of the Department of War, Pete Hegseth, did launch Skynet last month, in which and who knows what this actually means in this stupid government, but he was like, we're switching all of this military stuff over to AI controlled by amazing tools like Grok, the child sex abuse material generating machine. So I thought that was an interesting thing to happen as we've been discussing Terminator these last couple months. But anyway, the game. So yeah, we do get those prequel levels, and this was also my same experience out the gate. It was like, oh, this is cool. Like,
Yeah,
you're giving me a little more in a way that doesn't feel super ham-fisted, other than the design of Bandit Bob is absolutely hysterical. And now that you mention it, I think he is basically like a reskin of the T-800s, which in some of the storylines that you can play through, you have to fight two T-800s in the future.
That's right.
As the almost final bosses.
And they're just reskins.
Just this guy with a different skin on.
That's totally true. Good guy. Good eye there, Junior Cowboy.
There's some sort of something, thematic or poetic that they were trying to communicate to us.
Yes,
in this.
the poetry of asset preservation.
Yeah. I mean, they could have very easily redrawn different ones, but they did not.
Gameplay wise, this also reminded me a lot of Sunset Riders. If you remember that game,
I've never heard of it.
Oh, Sunset Riders.
I thought like
it's either Capcom or Konami run and gun, a Western themed shooter game where you can play as 4 different cowboys.
Nice.
And basically you're a bounty hunter tracking down desperados in the Wild West, and you're running around, and the gameplay is almost identical to T2D No Fate.
Great title.
Yeah.
I get the title, but I likened it, of course, like to the Contra games, except that you can run and gun in those.
You have to.
They are the original.
That's the point of the game.
Contra, Metal Slug.
Metal Slug. Love Metal Slug.
Less fun Gunstar Heroes.
Yeah.
God, this game is held back so much by the fact that she has to stop to shoot her weapon.
I wonder why that is.
I think some of it might be because of them pulling from the original like Super Nintendo era Terminator games.
Okay, you want to talk about some of those for just a little bit? Because they're not good.
They're not good. And go off. Tell me more.
So, Josh, I played and beat Terminator 1 for the Sega Genesis. and it's bad, but it's probably the best of that generation of Terminator video games. And the reason that it was good was because you were able to run and shoot, and it was fast paced, and it had pretty convincing, representations of the Terminator T-800s and all of the cool future war stuff that everybody loves about the Terminator movies. And um what what Sarah Connor's inability to run and gun reminds me of is the original Nintendo Entertainment System version of the Terminator, where you play as Kyle Reese because you can't play as a woman in a Nintendo game. Why would you do that? Um, you play as Kyle Reese, and in order to shoot, he has to take a knee and then aim his little laser gun and then take some shots. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is the
I
Sega
pulled
Genesis.
up footage of is it the Sega Gen? I forget if this.
Oh no, this is the
Super Nintendo version
This is the Super Nintendo
of the original Terminator, where you start as Kyle Reese in the future war,
which is the most dynamic and like interesting scenery and enemies that you could find in a Terminator
and
game.
Oops, I hit a wrong button. We'll get back to it, but it's clunky. It's very clunky.
It's a little flighty too. Everything's a little too like you don't feel like you're actually running. It feels like you're controlling a cursor.
Yeah. Well, and I don't remember, and I can't tell from watching the gameplay if this has that same problem where you can only shoot while stopped. No, you can run and gun in this, but the motion is very like, yes, I think that's right, floaty, like, and that's a problem that carried over to the new game. The motion of Sarah, it's just like there's the acceleration's just a little bit off of like moving, like starting and stopping. I would welcome a little bit of that like Mario like lack of friction when you like accelerate and slow down, like you glide into it a little bit would be useful. For some reason that just feels more natural in a platform game than this just like very cursory is as you described motion. And the jump is so bad. Oh my God, the jump in the No Fate game, it's just like there's very little animation to it. It's like this just perfect parabolic arc with like no, like the inertia and acceleration of it is very unnatural and unwieldy and weird. And it really takes me out of the game, which is a shame because I quickly discovered that like the best way to play as Sarah is to be constantly jumping and running, because you can shoot while jumping and moving forward. So after my first run, all of my footage is me just constantly jumping.
Yeah.
Because it felt so much more fluid than like what they designed it for.
My gameplay very quickly turned into it looks like I'm playing a modded version of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, because I'm just sliding everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is it's its own little like very low damage attack, but it does have some use when you're fighting enemies with shields later in the Cyberdyne headquarters at the last half of the game. But I wonder with full sincerity if the reason that Sarah Connor does not run and gun while John Connor does is because perhaps in the movie you never see Sarah running while shooting a gun. And it's like, is it that faithful to this like film where it's like to the detriment of the game?
Yeah, I mean, indeed it feels overly faithful to something, whether it's the original games, which we just saw, like, no, you could run and gun in the original Terminator for Super Nintendo, or the film. It's a misstep that just really takes like what could be a pretty fun, 2D platforming run and gun. And it takes all this like replay value that they thought they were building into it completely out. Like once I played the 3 stories, I was like, I'm good. I don't need to see any more of this.
And I think you just nailed the reason that I didn't enjoy the sticker price of this game.
Yes.
Is because I played through it and I was like, that's fun. I love how they filled in those blanks, and oh look, they did the thing with the movie, and oh look, you finally get to play as Sarah Connor in the Terminator 2 video game. I don't believe that that's a choice in any of the retro games where you probably only play as the T-800 or John Connor in certain segments. And in this, I mean, when you watch Terminator 2, Sarah Connor is an action hero. She is like Linda Hamilton transformed into like a Navy SEAL. Like, she is so buff. She is so competent and confident. Like, it made no sense that you weren't. And the only reason that you know that you're not playing a Sarah Connor in the old games is because of sexism.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I felt through and through when I was playing them a little bit in like preparation for this. I was like, why am I not Sarah Connor? Why? Just like, it's very palpable. I want to talk about one more mechanic thing just because I was running the footage on screen. The climbing is so badly done. You have to be directly holding up and only up while not in motion on the D-pad for all these points where they want you to climb onto a like new level. And it's I don't understand who made this decision. Seems like you had plenty of time because you kept delaying your game. Like, it's really brutal, especially for a game that I get the sense was designed with like speed running and replayability in mind. All of the just lack of quality in the motion gave me zero desire to do what they wanted me to do with the game. Yeah, and it's disappointing because I there is a lot to love about this, and there's a lot of love put into it, but there's just a lot of mechanical decisions that just kind of killed the vision, whatever vision they had. It's disappointing.
So I'm looking at a little spreadsheet of information about the development of Terminator 2D No Fate, and it seems that it was designed and programmed by one guy, Mike Tucker.
Okay.
So apparently
I can forgive that a little more.
Mike Tucker is probably the guy we can blame.
I'm sorry, Mike. You did way more work than I'll ever do.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of there's a lot to love here, but there's just like some things like I wish you had a budget to do a little more QA or something, and have people give you more feedback on how this thing actually feels to play. And like these things I'm saying about like it's a little too faithful to the old games and how it plays a little clunkily.
Yeah, I've got an example I want to bring up later.
That feels like somebody like not getting enough feedback and review in their game design process. Like I don't know how much it is really just that one guy, but it feels like that could be a guy who's like, no, I want it to be completely faithful, and like he just needed somebody over his shoulder going, buddy,
you're the only person on earth that cares about this.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Like you need to do a little bit more, QA, a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for when you have like a test group, focus grouping?
Yeah.
You need a little more focus grouping if the design process is as you described. It's a little clunky. It's disappointing, but again, there was a lot I really did love here.
So one detail that I got a little giggle out of as a one of the few people probably who's ever beat Terminator for the Sega Genesis, in the future war segments, the flying hunter killer machine, the Terminator planes that attack you, in the Sega Genesis version, that they released these bombs that have little parachutes that come for you. They included that in T2D. Fate, where it's just like, that's not in the movie. I know for a fact that you don't see little bombs with parachutes attacking the rebellion later in the movie. I'm watching the footage right now. I didn't know you could do that.
The more we discuss, the more I'm like, oh, this is truly like the one guy who just like growing up, the Terminator video games were what he had.
Yeah.
He's like, this is what video games are, right?
Right.
These are great.
They're infuriating. They're over bloated, and they don't quite hit the point. Yeah.
That's which actually that raises another question. Did you play it on anything other than easy mode?
Yeah, I played on No Problemo.
Yeah.
So you played on easy money?
I did easy money the first run because I was like, let's just kick the tires. Let's see the whole game, because I immediately got the sense like this is something that you're meant to replay, right? So I was like,
that's the only justification for the price.
Right. I was like, I knew this was going to be something I could run through really fast in story mode, and then I can go back and challenge myself. So I wanted to make sure, I was like, I need footage of all of story mode. But then when I went back and I played No Problemo, like I was still playing pretty casually and like just not worrying too much about taking hits. And so actually I got to, I think it's this first Cyberdyne level. So like
before the movie starts.
Yeah, this is still like the prequel section that he's added, where Sarah gets caught trying to infiltrate Cyberdyne the way they do in the movie, but she tries it on her own. It's actually there's like this computer boss thing. It's very easy. There's like literally like 2 moves you need to pay attention to dodge it. And I just like hadn't learned it yet. And then I used my continues and it starts me over the entire game. I was like, yeah, I don't like this experience of video games anymore. Like I don't
like
want
the arcade type of feeling.
I don't want to have to replay back to this. I just want my checkpoint that's near the boss.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, no, I'm doing full like unlimited continues the rest of my runs here. Because I didn't want to run into the same problem again where I'm like, oh, I got a little lazy or I didn't learn the boss and I died on accident and I have to start over. It was just like, I'm sorry, I got too much life to live.
That's right, man. It's only a matter of time before the true judgment day hits us,
Yes,
and I don't want to waste my freedom.
2029's coming. You know?
It's coming real quick. Okay. Josh, so here at Camp Video Games, we want to keep track of how long it takes for a video game to make you kill a dog.
Oh yeah, I actually thought about that.
Level 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Right off the bat, Sarah Connor's
4
killing
minutes.
dogs. So if you're playing along at home, if you wanted to stop playing as soon as you have to kill a dog, it's level 2 in Terminator 2D.
I'm glad you kept track of that because
Yeah.
I had the thought, but I didn't like make note of it.
So when Sarah gets to the after you defeat the Cyberdyne HQ boss in the prequel level, Sarah comes across a prototype Terminator. I love this stuff where you get to see what does a 1994 Terminator look like from Cyberdyne, and it also tells you that like Sarah Connor is the most gaslit woman in the world,
as we've discussed.
She's been completely thrown under the bus by Cyberdyne. She knows what they're up to, and they reframe her techno terrorist attack as it wasn't that she was trying to prevent the end of the world. She was just attacking a computer factory, is what they tell the public.
Yes.
Whereas in reality, she had discovered that they were reverse engineering future tech.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this like revisionist canon that on the one hand, I do think it makes the story more squarely about like man's greed as an antagonist in the Terminator world, to show us that like, no, like not only was she right about the future war, but there was massive amounts of evidence in present day that she was gaslit around, like you said, which is, again, it's like you're adding this to James Cameron's story. That's a bold move to make for one guy developing a retro video game.
Yeah, Mike Tucker's got the weight of the world on his shoulders here.
But like, it's a decision I think I mostly agree with, storytelling wise and thematically.
Absolutely, it's. I mean, to be frank, this is the best part of the game for me.
Yeah,
and because I don't know why, but the game doesn't end. The first run of the game does not end with the end of the movie. It then goes into the future again so that John Connor can make sure that this never happens again and to close the time loop, I suppose. And that didn't do it for me. I was like, how dare you add to the end of the movie?
Yeah.
Like you can add stuff in between the movies. Great. Good job. I love that.
And
but
that
for some reason it rubbed me wrong.
Is on record of being like, everything you need is there. I don't have anything else to say, and that's why he didn't do Terminator 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And that is if you do the quote unquote like canonical story mode.
Yeah. Where
there's still extra levels like that.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember.
Okay. So we'll get to the I guess the variables that the game introduces,
the multiverse
later.
that it introduces.
After destroying after getting arrested at Cyberdyne HQ, or one of the Cyberdyne HQs, now the movie picks up where we see the future war segment where this is okay. So this is technically in Terminator lore. This is the end of the war with the machines. And go back to our discussions on Terminator and Terminator 2. But what happens is the human rebellion against Skynet is able to destroy Skynet's like main computer, and only rogue Terminators that aren't connected to the mainframe are left to their own devices, which is how they're able to send the T-800 back to 1984 and the T-1000 back to 1994 or 5 or 4, I think. So what this does is it's just extending those great little cutscenes that you don't get enough of in the first 2 Terminator movies.
And you get to blast a lot of robots.
And it's great. I felt this game actually showed a lot of restraint in not just throwing like metal skeleton T-800s from the very get-go at you.
Yeah.
Like your Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the arcade shooter does, where it's just like, oh, it's just an endless wave of them. This one has a pretty great variety of enemy types that is in you know, they all have different attack modes, and like it feels like a video game.
Yeah, and after the first playthrough, like I think this level especially, when you revisit it, you get the sense of like sort of the speedrunny rhythm that they were going for.
Did you watch any speedruns of this game?
I did not.
It's quite fun.
Oh, but I don't know. Maybe this is for later to discuss, but like I think this is basically what I think I'm saying is like this is one of the strongest levels. I would take a whole video game of this. However, because we're trying to faithfully adapt a film that takes place in this future war and in malls in like California in 1994 and whatever, like it's very clunky, and we get I mentally like refer to it as the Battletoads problem.
Yes. Oh yes.
Where like every level is a different video game, and you never really get to like sit and chill with the vibe.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, I'm enjoying running and gunning through the future war. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I'm naked Arnold Schwarzenegger punching guys in a bar.
Oh boy.
Which is fun.
It is.
I love it. I had fun with it, but it's just like the momentum is too jerky.
It's nothing. Well, I guess being naked is new, but it's nothing new that Terminator video games haven't already done.
Yes, and this is like because they were like, oh, we want to be faithful to the level from the Super Nintendo game, so they do that, which is that one's especially bad, by the way.
I just had a Terminator epiphany here. I know why this game is so expensive. They had to license the rights to Dwight Yoakam and George Thorogood for that one level to get those 2 iconic songs that are forever linked with the Terminator franchise.
Yeah.
You get guitars and Cadillacs and hillbilly music. And
you know what's funny? I watched like one video review of this game, and that quickly reminded me like why I hate the YouTube video game review format. And I stopped.
Which we're contributing to right now.
But it's a very different style.
Yeah. We're way cooler, guys.
Way older. Nah, probably a few years younger than the average guy these days. But like, so like somebody got to the point of like almost like they were like mentioning like, oh, there's this needle drop of a song, and like, and we're just so excited about it, and I was like, who cares, man?
Yes.
Like, I mean, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it comes on, you go, oh, they did that. It's not like I'm like, yay! Like it's just such a dumb thing.
Now I'm having fun.
Yeah, I wasn't having fun until you dropped this.
Yeah. This game, Terminator 2D No Fate, is made for fans of Terminator 2 the movie, not for fans of video games.
Yeah,
that's my cut. There.
Yeah, and that's like, again, that's in argument with itself, because there are some elements where like I get how you were designing this for like speed running arcade players who want to run it over and over again. But then it's in argument with that, like, no, we need this faith for the movie fans, and they both just kind of fall flat on the floor.
They could have very easily done a 16-bit facsimile of those songs that is not going to strike licenses, because if
and
you
change one note so that you don't have to license anything.
Because if you watch speedruns of this game, the when Arnold's beating up dudes in the bar, no music. It's very funny. It got a little giggle out of me. I was like, aha, that's that at least the speedrun that I watched. They because I assumed that YouTube would ping it and then they would not be able to share it for that reason. Okay.
Actually, now I want to inquire like your feelings on the music across the board in this game.
Yeah.
I had the same experience with this game that I had with the Super Nintendo games. Where I just had a few seconds of like, you adapted some of the things I remember from the films, but it's so aggressive and in my face that I have to turn it down.
Oh,
like
sure.
Immediately.
Like in the settings, turn the music down.
Like halfway through the first level, I turned the music halfway down from like what the sound effects level is.
Yeah.
And that's how I played it the rest of the time. Because it just felt like so, not to get too nerdy, but it was just like so slamming compressed, just like wall to wall metal in my face that I'm like, unless your name is Doom, like you don't get to do that. Like I'm trying to chill and play a video game. It's just too much.
I feel you, buddy. Yeah. Okay. So what this game does not do for me is, it seems like the cutscenes and like all of the depictions of violence in this are very bloodless, and it's like who are you trying to appease with this? Like this is a Terminator video game,
but at the same time they get the M rating because they need to use the F word and stuff in cutscenes.
That is true.
I had like a lot of moments where I'm like reading a swear word in a cutscene of this 16-bit style video game, which to me like says for children to some degree. And I'm like, who is this for? If not literally just the two of us?
I don't think kids care about 16-bit the way that we do.
And I think that like that there's like some self-awareness and like this is probably for like a 35 plus audience in making that choice. But I'm like, it still feels weird. It's like, is this telling me I have other things I should be doing?
Yeah. Well, if you're a fan of 16-bit pixel art, be sure to talk to your doctor about that colon exam, because it's getting close.
Yeah, you're gonna need to get that colonoscopy scheduled soon.
Well, I think about it also. It was like Terminator 2. It had all of the blood and all of the cusses and all of the edginess, and it was still marketed to kids. That was like for so many people. I feel like we
Big
said
time.
this in the previous discussion. Like this was a lot of kids' first R-rated movie, Terminator 2, because it was a
I heard somebody talk about this
spectacle.
on a podcast literally this week.
Yeah?
Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, the Terminator movies. I saw those when I was like 7 or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, but also they had a whole line of action figures of like, remove the T-800's arm skin to reveal the endoskeleton, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I really wish we could have seen Arnold Schwarzenegger's dick in this movie, though. He's got to have a small dick, right?
I have no idea, and I don't think about it as hard as you do.
Think about it hard.
Yeah, like man, when you get to do I'm back to the bar level now that you're talking about this. Like, it's very bizarre that on the one hand, we're championing like, yes, you finally get to place Sarah Connor as the action hero she is, and in exchange for that, you play literally just this. Is it just this one level as the T-800 where you're like fighting with your fists?
You take control of them on the motorcycle during the truck chase, and like very, very, very minimal. Yeah, that's a really good point.
It's so confused and has that Battletoads problem of like, what is the gameplay of this?
Yes.
The Battletoads problem persists in that like as the T-800, you get to play this one naked Arnold level where you punch.
It's a beat 'em up level for.
It's a beat 'em up. You punch forward, backwards, or you have a like bruiser smash thing.
Yeah, it reminds me of the dwarf's like range attack in Golden Axe, where and the dwarf uses a headbutt to like knock the enemies out, and it's very overpowered.
And then there's the bike levels, which is like, I get it. You're making a Terminator 2 video game. James Cameron films if about any one thing or about chases, you know?
Yeah.
So especially this era. And so you got to have that. And it's a fun spectacle, but in a game where you want me to run and rerun it, the novelty of it wears off pretty fast, where you're like, I'm literally just moving a very low animation sprite up and down.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it turns into the turbo tunnel levels from Battletoads,
but a very easy turbo tunnel at that.
Yeah.
And when you're doing the actual bike one, that you at least have a forward and backward, but you do not need to use it at all. And then when the T800 joins, you have to shoot the truck that's being driven by the T1000.
Right.
And literally the only thing that changes in the gameplay between the first and second phases is now you have to hold Y. Because no matter where you are, you're going to hit the massive semi-truck behind you.
That's right.
And it's just the T800 repeatedly going, fa-boom, fa-boom, fa-boom.
Yeah.
Which I should have turned the music up for this part, because I do think they did a neat little trick of sort of tuning the sound of the gunfire to dynamically shift like and harmonize with the soundtrack a little bit. I don't know if I'm just like imagining that, but I thought I heard it in there. I played the game on pretty low volume most of the time, but I think I clocked that at some point.
I don't know. I feel like giving you a wedgie right now, because that's some nerd stuff that you just
nerd
said.
Shit. But like, if they did it, kudos to them. It sounded like they did.
You're a fancy headphone guy, so you'd be the one to figure that out.
Yeah, I did not do this one with fancy headphones. I did it with the crappy TV speakers pretty low every time I played, because out the gate I was like, oh, this game's soundtrack is quite grating to me. But this part I was like, I think they put a little bit of attention here, but maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, let's mention what system did you play Terminator 2D No Fate on?
Switch. I assumed you would have as well.
I actually downloaded it on Steam.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it runs fine. There's not, and that's kind of like what my Switch is for. Is like any game that I'm like, I know it's gonna run fine on anything, and I might want to play it handheld. I buy it on Switch.
Sure. Not like Resident Evil 2 remake.
No, absolutely not. Do not recommend. Get that for PS5 or Steam.
Yeah.
Good golly, that was bad.
So you brought up a point that really intrigues me, is that, you do not really play as Arnold Schwarzenegger in this Terminator video game.
Not much.
It's like, oh, okay. Like, I guess we got enough of that from the old games, so that's why they chose to do it, perhaps. Yeah. They're like, we need to give Sarah Connor the attention she deserves as the action hero that she is.
Mm-hmm. And it's like when you unlock stuff in the game, it seems to have some self-awareness.
Yes.
Out of the fact that like story mode is a little clunky and designed around, we need to do a level for every major like set piece in the film, but because you unlock this what's like called Mother of the Future mode or something, which I believe clears out everything where you're not playing as Sarah, but for some bizarre reason it starts with the Future War level and then you play the prequel level or something. That's as far as I made it, and I was like, I get it, but this is weird and like poorly designed and arranged.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of this kind of bleeds together for me too, because while they do attempt like dynamic gameplay modes where there's like very different kinds of levels, it all still kind of bleeds together.
Yeah.
And this is not a game that I felt like compelled to like master. Right? Like I think about run and gun platformers, which is what like our generation grew up with. And I was obsessed with Contra 2. I think it's called Contra C.
Super C?
not Super.
Okay.
Wait, yeah. Super C.
Yeah, that was the one for
still
Super
on the
Nintendo?
NES, but
Oh,
it was
it
the
was?
sequel to Contra.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that was a game that I played again and again and again and again and again
Yeah.
because it was hard, but it was fun, and it was fair, but it was incredibly challenging. And this game is hard at certain levels just because certain enemies have like insta kills. Like we're looking at the Pescadero footage right now.
Yeah, that was,
and it turns into like a fake stealth game where you really just have to skirt around the edge of the orderlies' flashlights, and if they spot you and they can get an attack in, they'll just tackle you to the ground and put a sleeping juice in your neck.
This is actually where I game overed and said, no, I'm not playing without infinite continues anymore. Now that I think about it, I used 1 or 2 on the level before it, or on the bosses before it.
Yeah.
And then I got here, I ran into the first orderly. He spotted me. I was like, well, I'll just whack him. Maybe I'll take a piece of damage. Nope, 1-hit KO.
Yeah.
And that reset my game. I was like, no, this sucks.
Yes.
I'm only playing infinite continues from now on. This level's also reminding me back to like the mechanics and the motion of the game that like it fails in that it insists on so much sort of like realism or verisimilitude of like, no, she's been in this hospital. She's in a weakened state. You cannot run. You cannot jump. Like, she just flatly moves at this slow pace. I'm like, I do not care. Give me Mario with a gun, and I will have so much more fun with this. Like, I want to feel like I'm controlling an action hero. And they're like, no, she's a meek little woman. And it's like, I get what you're going for. It's just not fun to play. Like, I did not have fun. Once I learned this level, like, there's a little bit of fun to be had in like trying to run it somewhat more perfectly, where like there's these doors you have to pick the locks of, and there's a lock picking mini game that comes up and it's like a second long if you do it right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like whatever. And then there's this part where like the T-1000's coming for you and you have the option of you can hide or pick the lock. And one time I just like mindlessly accidentally picked the lock, which is also an instant KO.
Instant kill. Yeah.
And I'm like, like it's just you're trying to do too much in that you're like taking away from the video gaminess of it and some of the fun.
It's like if we're gonna pretend to be playing a Sega or Super Nintendo game right now, do it the way that most people are doing it these days and add save states.
Yeah.
Like just make it like, if this is a modern game, let's add some of the modern like accoutrement that makes these games a bit more palatable in this day and age.
Easy mode essentially is. It's like almost every time you get a health kit, it drops a checkpoint, which there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it's fine to play in that mode, but I just wasn't inspired to play and replay. And I definitely was not inspired by the challenge, quote unquote, of like, ooh, only 3 continues mode, no continues mode. I'm like, no, I don't. Your game is not, the gameplay's not compelling enough.
It is not.
To make me want to challenge myself like that.
It seems like those modes were made specifically for streamers.
Yeah. And I don't know how many of them are doing it and enjoying it, but I don't know. It's whatever.
Yeah. Let's see what else. So after Sarah and the gang escape from Pescadero, now we're faced with our first variable in the game, where they're in the abandoned gas station where they hole up after their escape, and Sarah's picking all the bullets out of the T-800, and she realizes that she has the chance to either leave the chip in the T-800's skull so that it continues with its original mission, which is to protect John Connor at all costs, or she can reprogram it so that the T-800 will help her kill Miles Dyson. And that's an interesting like departure from the film. And I don't know enough about the behind the scenes making of the movie to know if that was maybe something they considered for the production of the film, if like perhaps Sarah would have succeeded in killing Dyson, or if these are just like, I mean, when we're talking about a story that incorporates time travel into it, it seems that like the choices you make that have long lasting repercussions are the most interesting ones in that scenario. So they're introducing the fact that, hey, maybe this doesn't go the way the movie goes. Or they're like, we really need to stretch this game out. And like people will not be happy with the sticker price if they only have the movie to play through.
Right. I was curious because it forces you to play.
You got to go straight through. Yeah, you got to go vanilla first way through.
I was curious if like one of the alternate timelines, as somebody who I was like, Terminator 2 is the end of the franchise. I will never watch another Terminator movie. I know they're not as good. Is this split timelines that happen? Is that the plot of maybe one of the other Terminators?
Oh, if I'm going to try to explain time travel, I will go into a coma.
No, I just didn't know if like, oh, Terminator 3 or one of these other new Terminators is about that split timeline where like, oh no, you actually killed Miles Dyson and this was the consequence.
I see. No, Terminator 3 specifically still follows the events of Terminator 2 as they appeared in the film. It just what it introduces is that there actually is fate and that Judgment Day is inevitable, and that even if all they were able to do was prolong Judgment Day, because Terminator 3 takes place, it seems like maybe like 10, 15 years after Terminator 2. So by this point, John Connor is an adult and he's just been kind of like drifting and like working like odd jobs. And he's like kind of a vagrant, just like, I mean, what's your life after this happens to you when you're a 10-year-old boy? But it shows that they were never able to completely prevent Judgment Day from happening. It was an inescapable fate.
Yeah.
So everything that Sarah Connor and that Terminator 2 really stands for, there's no fate but that which you make. It's complete malarkey. Like they completely disregard that.
Oh, that sucks. But
yeah.
So in the game, the new timelines that are established are essentially the bad endings, which is like not a good way to design your video game.
No. If I were to make a change to the way this game plays out, I believe that they should not be choices that you make. They should be consequences of failing a mission or of not being able to protect Miles Dyson, something along those lines, where it's a gameplay function and not just a storytelling function.
Or like a semblance of like a Metal Gear 3 thing where like I forget the boss's name, the sorrow, where you don't realize you're making the choice until you get there, because this is actually kind of playing with the same thing. Is that the branching storyline that they add is that if you choose either to have the T-800 or Sarah kill Miles Dyson, then John becomes upset about these adults, well, quote unquote adults, because one of them is a computer
basically
robot.
His parents at this point, emotionally speaking.
He runs away after the T-1000 is destroyed, and Sarah's like, the future war happened anyway, and now I've lost my son. And you get these extra levels that are about rescuing future John Connor in the Tomorrow War that happened anyway. Neither of them's very good. No. So like, and then in one of those, you do save him, and then in the other scenario, so if you have the T-800 kill Dyson,
yes,
I believe that's where John survives.
That's right, because the T-800 saves him later.
Okay, I didn't clock that. It's very weird. Wouldn't want to obsess over every detail of it, but like you play almost essentially the same path, to the point that my third playthrough is started like the next level or two. I was like, oh crap, did I accidentally choose the same thing again? Now I have to replay this. Because it's like, it's not that different, except I think you get one extra T-800 level where he has a minigun now, which again, it's like now we've introduced another style of gameplay.
Yeah.
It's just clunky, and they're all the bad ending, whereas the original story is the good ending. And this is something like you can learn from Chrono Trigger that like the bad ending in Chrono Trigger is like if you just lose to the last boss. Every other ending is good, or at least fun or funny.
Yeah.
Like,
how many endings are there? It's like 30 endings.
No, it's like 12 or 13 or something. But like, that's a good way to do multiple endings. You don't want to punish the player for their choice to replay your game, which is how I felt every time I replayed story mode. Wait, so it ended worse because I chose the branching path? It was not fun.
Yes. Right. So if Sarah decides to kill Miles Dyson, you get the worst ending where John Connor runs away after the T-1000 is destroyed, as we said, and then he gets killed by a Terminator right after Sarah frees him from Cyberdyne headquarters.
And that's the last one I
Skynet
played.
headquarters.
That was my last experience playing this game.
Right.
Is you kill ostensibly the final boss, which is 2 T-800s in the future.
Two bandit bobs.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm saving John again. And then one of them just goes, pop, wakes up, shoots him, and it's over.
That's it.
And that's the game.
Dun 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 dun.
Like, it's a terrible ending.
Yep.
It's such a punishing ending for like that you're giving me for choosing to explore and spend more time with your game.
Right.
Very bad decision.
Yep. Bad times.
Yeah.
So we go through the Cyberdyne headquarters, and that turns into, it's not even like a Easter egg hunt where you're following little arrows that tell you where to plant the bombs in Cyberdyne headquarters while like Sarah is killing these cops, which also goes against the ethos of the movie, where John's big thing was just like, we don't kill people.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's just like, oh, right. I forgot about that detail.
Now the alternate routes, the thing I did get a kick out of as I was playing them, because it adds more levels where you kill more cops.
Yeah.
Because you get arrested, you have to escape the police station, and you're just blowing cops away. That, like, at a certain point, I was like, I think this person wanted to make like a cop murder simulator and then disguised it in a Terminator game.
But the thing is that like this game could have been like, this could have been a really great original IP if they weren't beholden to the Terminator, like, product. Because like, if you're like scrolling through Steam or through the Nintendo eShop or whatever it is you buy your slop from, this is like to be like, hey, if you're a fan of Contra or of XYZ, like this might scratch that itch that you haven't been, feeling for a while. But since it's a Terminator game, they're like, oh shit, we've got a lot of work to do now to like make this a proper Terminator game. And that's, I think, the weakness that this game feels. And also just a weird little side detail that I've noticed is that this game seems very, very hesitant to do any depictions of Arnold Schwarzenegger's face in the cutscenes.
Oh, they absolutely did not have the licenses for that.
They got Sarah Connor and John Connor pretty accurate. They got Robert Patrick pretty accurate, but it just
I wonder if it has something to do with him having been governor for 8 to 12 years, however many terms he served after this, that like, I wonder if there's some sort of, no, because he still does the movies, doesn't he? Has he done a movie since he was the governor?
Yeah. I mean, Schwarzenegger's still, I mean, he's yes.
I was wondering if like he personally like wants to dissociate himself from the character because he's been a politician so long.
Are you kidding? That's the reason he's a politician.
I know that's why he would have gotten elected in the first place, but like, I don't know much about him anymore. Like, I don't follow Arnold Schwarzenegger's career.
Yeah.
I was just curious if that had anything to do with like why they didn't license his likeness for the game. But I don't know.
I just saw it as a hesitancy for litigious governor.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just wonder how much like his political career has to do with him being like, I'm not going to license my likeness for a violent video game that doesn't have any cinematic chops to it or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know. I just noticed that like when the T-800 is speaking in the game, his little like avatar is just kind of it's more of a Terminator face. That's like it's he never looks like that in the movie, where like, sure, you get that great, like half of his face is ripped off,
but it's quite dissociated from the actor.
It's just like, they're really, really making an effort to not depict Arnold Schwarzenegger's face in its entirety in this game.
Another man. So I think one of the game's strongest points is the pixel art
Oh yeah.
animated cutscenes. Like I just pulled up a second ago, the one where the T-1000 is destroyed in like the lava factory or whatever.
It's a steel mill, by the way.
Yeah, and it looks fantastic. The
Yeah.
animation does. Like it's clearly lovingly rendering exact moments from the film. Another one is when Sarah first runs into the T-800. The way she like runs up to him and then backs up on the floor in terror
It's like shot for shot. It's perfect.
yeah, it's very well done. But the actual like playing of the scenarios of those levels, we already talked about like the hospital one, and I was just watching the lava factory, whatever. The choice to put you in Sarah following John and running from the T-1000, and all of the like Terminator fight happens off screen,
Yes.
is really bizarre. I don't know. I maybe would have chosen to be like, you play as Sarah and then it's like a few minutes earlier and then you play as the T-800 and do another level. It just feels very disjointed for something that's trying to so faithfully create the movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not gonna answer for what is his name, Mike Tucker's decisions here, but it seems like this. I mean, I'm not gonna say that this feels like a rush job because there's so much that is lovingly done that is like, I mean, the attention to detail would have taken a lot of time and effort, but it's I mean, there's still constraints. You know, it's not, well, is this technically an indie game? I mean, Bitmap Bureau, they're all of their games are they're definitely not AAA. They're releasing stuff for super fans of genre, like classics of yesteryear that want to rediscover that love of platforming.
I mean, their last game, the Xeno Crisis one you mentioned.
Yeah.
That was a Kickstarter game. And then like I've never heard of Reef Entertainment. I'm looking at my iPad right now. Like they don't have a Wikipedia page. It's
right.
Like,
they don't.
I'm like, yes, you had a publisher, but it's like, that's indie to me.
Yeah.
You know,
For
like
sure.
people love to have this argument about what's an indie game. And like, it's just, you just know it when you see it. You know, like, I don't know. And like my whole, I'm going to lay down my take on this is that like, as somebody who came from the music scene in like my teens and 20s, it's like what happened with video games is it's 10 to 15 years behind the technology of like DIY music.
Okay.
In that like DIY music was becoming a thing and that like you could record at home in your bedroom in like the early 2000s.
Sure.
You did not need one of the big like 3 to 5 publishers to get your music out to the world anymore. And then video games were like 10 to 15 years behind that. But like in the music scene, we had like DIY, indie, full on like Warner Brothers, Sony, you know, and then they had a lot of record labels underneath them that were still given the quote unquote indie label, you know? And like I think of video games the same way. Is there's a lot of games that like, yes, they have a publisher, but their publisher's not like Activision, you know, or whatever. Like
Sure.
and that makes a big difference. I only think of a game as not being indie when it is like Activision, Nintendo, Sony Interactive, like one of those big 5 or 6. That's my 2 cents on that whole argument for whatever it's worth.
My experience with like indie games of like, you know, 20 years ago, it all comes back to the internet where it's just like Flash games, E-Bombs World,
like
Newgrounds.
Those were the early DIY games.
Those were, and like that's what this game should have stuck with. Like where it's like they are charging like big boy prices for this game.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I feel like I should play this for free in my browser, like through a website.
Yeah.
Like that's like the replayability of this like I've played indie games that I've put in like dozens of hours into that like I got for free just because they were getting ad revenue on it for their in-browser like, you know, support. But like this game is like it's got a lot of polish to it. It's got a lot of attention to detail, and it's got like, triple A IP that it's adapting, but it still just plays kind of like a flash indie game from 20 years ago.
Yeah, I it's funny because for as much as I've critiqued it, I would only disagree in that, like, I think having a publisher behind this is where probably a lot of the polish came from.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more of a $10 to $15
Yes,
ESRB
I would rather pay
publish
that
than a $30
sure.
or polish. But yeah, I wouldn't say this is like, because when you talk about like, oh yeah, playing Flash games, E-Bombs World or whatever, like that, I'm like, that's early DIY video game development, right?
That was a huge inspiration for me as a youngster. I'd be like, oh, I can make video games. I can make music. I can make my own movies. Like that's the real revolution of the internet, where it made these like big projects more accessible because the technology had shrunk into home-sized, devices.
Yeah, and now we just have like, it's easier to self-publish. Like, you can publish a video game to the Nintendo Switch Online store without a publisher. You can just submit a game, and I'm pretty sure if it passes certain checks, they'll throw it up there. Because, good Lord, every time you go in there, if you go to new releases, it's like
Slop City.
It's like Hentai Waifu World, Hentai Waifu World 2, and it's like,
no, that's just your algorithm.
No,
I'm joking.
It's a problem.
Yeah,
like, I forget where I was going with that in relation to this game. Oh, like, so like where I'm saying is, that is where DIY game development has evolved to. Now, I would put this game like a tier above that, and it's like indie in that, like, because it has a publisher that probably gave them a little bit of more money to spend a little more time. There are things that are extremely polished about it that we've both, I think, praised pretty decently. But I think it's just individual developer choices that is where the shortcomings probably reside.
I'd say that's right. Yeah.
And I'm sure that if they were here, they'd be like, no, I would have done this if I had more money. And they're probably right. But like, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. It's not $30 fine, but it's $15 to $20 fine.
Okay, we're looking at the credits here, and there's plenty of folks that worked on this. So it's not just Mike Tucker, but he's the most recurring name.
3 coders is what it said, I think. But then he's top level design with one other guy underneath him. He's credited on almost everything except music and art. So, and there's 3 people credited for QA. I wish they would have told him, dude, you got to be able to run and gun. It's a run and gun. Let her run and gun.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it made the game too easy. Maybe they needed to nerf it a little bit. I'm not sure what it is.
Right. Which is like, I don't know. Once I learned the technique of constantly jumping, it became as easy as it would be if you could run. It's just I had to be constantly pressing B.
Yeah.
It was so silly. I don't know. It's fine. I there's a lot of things I did like about it.
Same. Yeah, I would. Okay, I am not typically an advocate for what I'm about to recommend, but did you know that Steam has a return policy where if you've played the game for less than 2 hours and you've owned it for less than 2 weeks, you can get a full refund?
I'm of two minds here. Of like, I do think this is truly like a passion project that, like, if you're gonna play it, I don't know, the developer is owed some money. They're asking too much. I don't know. If you're gonna do that, at least leave them a good review, like, because that helps them a lot. Because I don't know. I think this team, they have some development chops that they just need more time and polish. That they could make good ones in the future, and maybe spend less money on getting George Thorogood's bad to the bone in your video game and more on quality assurance.
I wonder if Dwight Yoakam has appeared in any other video games besides this one.
That's a good question.
That's a question for another day.
That's
Although
right.
Our fate is not determined if we will ever answer that question.
It sure isn't. That's about all I have to say about this game.
Terminator 2D, no fate.
Mm-hmm.
Terminator 2D, no thanks.
Okay, man, it's just so hard. I just always want to say nice things about indie developers taking a swing.
Yeah.
So like no offense, no hate to the people who made the game.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you wanted to bring in the world. It just fell a little short for the price tag you asked.
Yeah. They swam in the big pool with the big fish here, and I think they should have stuck in the pond with the little fish.
Yeah. Maybe make another small one, and then come back and try again.
Oh, are you putting it? Yeah. Oh,
yeah. It's always I'm entering my
CVG.
initials is always CVG in a game where I get to put in my initials for my high score. I have no idea how I did because I didn't play enough times to understand what a good high score is.
That's okay.
It is what it is.
It makes you feel good about your fake accomplishments.
That's right.
Well, Junior Camp Counselor Josh, what else have you been playing besides Terminator 2D No Fate?
My gosh. I've been dabbling in a lot of things. I'm in a weird position where there's nothing that I'm like hooked on. So I've been kind of doing loose research for a very detailed, depthful thing I've been writing about Chrono Trigger.
Yes, sir.
So like, as I've been trying to put together this thing about Chrono Trigger that I want to make, the question I landed on that I needed to like try and answer is like, what needs to change about Chrono Trigger to make it feel canon if it's remade for like Gen Alpha, Gen Z?
Is that's a possibility, or is that a certainty?
There's
at this
whispers
point?
in the world.
And there's been whispers about remakes of pretty much every beloved JRPG from the SNES.
It's like if you're in Square Enix discourse, like that's one of the top level like things of people's like that Chrono Trigger remake. They're gonna announce it someday. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I've been playing like modern remakes of 90s and 2000 JRPGs.
Yeah.
And,
like the Dragon Quests?
So I played just this week. I played Dragon Quest 7 Reimagined. Seems mostly phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That just came out the week we're recording this.
Dragon Quest 7 was for the PlayStation?
Yes.
Okay.
And another one that I just played this week that as of last night, I'm like, it might have hooked me. It's called Trails in the Sky First Chapter.
Huh, never heard of that.
So it's the developer Falcom. They made the East games, just Y.
Oh, yeah.
And this Trails series, which were just like Falcom was like sort of that like third tier JRPG developer that was like just a little too nerdy and too just stuck in Japan for me, you know, that I didn't get into it. And this game, I'm playing the demo and like it's like one of those games where you're just kind of like looking over your shoulder because it looks so like kiddie cartoonish, and the writing is still like I'm like, I think it's just like a little too directly translated from the Japanese that it's like everything is so flat, overly verbose. Like I'm like, just get to the story. Let's go. You know, like I know the story is not gonna wow me, but I'm far enough into the gameplay that I'm like, oh, I'm vibing. I'm hanging out with this. Yeah. And it's like as remakes, I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about them too much, but that one is like, wow. This is a game. This is a remake done right. These guys are like obsessed with like giving you control, like all these like quality of life features that feel just right. It doesn't feel like I'm missing out on the game by the amount I can speed up and adjust the difficulty. Like at any point, it's crazy. It's very good looking. Trails in the Sky First Chapter, surprising me so far. I'm also playing back to the Chrono Trigger thing. I'm trying to figure out like the degree to which like Chrono Trigger's battle system truly was revolutionary.
Sure.
The idea of turn-based, you don't go to another screen. It's not action-based. The enemies are there waiting for you. Every encounter is pre-planned. I'm pretty sure all those qualifiers, it truly is Chrono Trigger was the first one. So I'm like going back and playing games that introduced elements, and like I played a little bit of the first Ys game.
Yeah.
Ys 1 on the Turbo Graphics. And I played 10 minutes. I was like, this is good.
Really?
Like, it kind of cooks. Like, I might play more, like a significant amount more of that game. It introduced like action RPG combat, but it's so weird. It's like you literally just run your guy into the enemy, and then it's just rolling dice in the background to see whose life runs out first.
Sure.
You just got 2 bars going down, and it weirdly feels good for a 1987 or whatever game. So yeah, I've been dabbling in the old stuff and the new stuff, all while thinking about Chrono Trigger is the short version of that.
Very nice.
What about you?
Well, I really look forward to that Chrono Trigger retrospective.
Give me like 9 more months.
Sure. And if campers, if you're interested,
I've got like 4,000 words written. It's probably going to end up being like 15.
Sure.
I don't know.
Campers, if you're interested in hearing Junior Camp Counselor Josh talk at length about JRPGs, be sure give Carl's manager
That's
a
right.
follow and his Secret of Mana retrospective. It's a beautiful little love letter to a different time in our lives that we never need to revisit.
Yeah, it's weird. That one came together easier than this Chrono Trigger one is, which is interesting.
Yeah, and the comments are all like, "Why aren't more people watching this?"
Yeah,
it's because of that dang old algorithm.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Give that some support.
It's really just about keeping my mind and hands busy, like so that I don't look at the horrors outside my window. That's why I make these.
Well, speaking of the horrors, I finally completed my very first playthrough of Fallout New Vegas, which
interesting.
It's been in the news a lot lately because of the Fallout TV series through Amazon, and because it takes place in Las Vegas, and I had to play that game so that I would not feel like I was missing out on certain themes or characters that show up in season 2 of Fallout. So I played through it. I get it now. And I want to just say that it's not the best game ever made. Like, people really need to chill out with Fallout New Vegas. It's a wonderful game. It was an addictive game. Yeah. I poured probably 75 hours into that first playthrough, and I feel like I barely scratched the surface of that game. That game came out like 13 years ago, so maybe 15 years ago. I think it was 2010 when that came out.
Yeah.
And like, 15 years ago, that would probably be the best video game I'd ever played at that point.
Interesting.
It's incredibly like nuanced. The storytelling in that game is so well paced that it just makes you feel like everything you do is a discovery on your own terms, and it's an incredibly rewarding game. But it's also a 15-year-old first person. It's not Bethesda. That was an Obsidian game, and it's just it shows
Bethesda.
its age. It does not need to be remade. It just needs to be appreciated for what it did at the time. With that being said, I finished that up, and I needed something a bit more cozy, because talking about the inevitable nuclear war that we've been doing for the past couple of months here with the Terminator series and with my venture into the wastelands of the Mojave Desert, I decided, you know what? I'm going to restart a new game in Red Dead Redemption 2.
I've been thinking about that lately.
I highly recommend it if you're feeling overwhelmed with the scope of things in the world. It's just good to go out there and to just, go fishing in the PlayStation era of fishing.
Yeah, I mean, I played RDR2 within like a year of when it came out, which was also like when I first came back to video games from like taking a break.
Yeah.
And then became like obsessively a critic of video games in that 7-year span since. That, like, when I first played it, I just don't think I was thinking enough about video games to get it, quote unquote.
Yeah.
That, like, I was like, it's so slow and lumbering. And now I'm like, I kind of want a slow and
that's
lumbering
the point.
game.
Yes.
Now I'm like, that's the point.
It's a somber, reflective game with a lot of like sentimentality, and like it makes it. I don't use this like term too often to describe video games, but like it runs risk of being a life replacement video game. Where you can just get lost in that and like obsess over all. I mean, there's a infinite amount of side quests or little hunts you can go on. Like, if you want to, you can just get lost in that game. And sometimes that's okay.
Yeah. I also want to loop back to Fallout New Vegas, which I've not played any Fallout. We maybe will eventually do it, because we wanted to do it at one point, but it was just like, I don't know. Any ones that we wanted to play, I did not have a good way to run them, because it sounds like probably New Vegas is the way to go. And I don't have a Windows computer to play a Steam version on. I eventually need to get a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
But
And I would not recommend Fallout 4 as your first Fallout game.
Right. That was like the most accessible one when we had this conversation, and we were like, no, we're not going to start there. But like, I've heard multiple people say the thing with New Vegas is it's one of the greatest games ever after you've spent 3 or 4 hours installing mods.
I'm not in that camp.
Maybe you've told me that too.
No.
Okay.
You brought this up the last time I talked about New Vegas. I only had the what people would say are like the essential DLC that comes with the game, and it really just adds like more missions and like a couple of like bonus weapons that you can get throughout the game. And I wouldn't even recommend that. You
like the vanilla.
I like vanilla most of the time. The only games that I haven't really played vanilla as of late would be like classic Doom or like Hexen or Heretic, because
really going back.
Those games are I mean, like, I am in love with Doom, and I can't play it natively because of like keyboard controls for that are just god awful. You play Chocolate Doom, which is the mod that you can play it through, which adds mouse look, which changes the game.
Wow.
It makes the game so much better. And I'm not saying that as like saying that Doom was a bad game before that.
Yeah.
It just makes it better for players who have become accustomed to the standard first-person shooter.
I play it a little bit. I'm like, I look up at that guy.
Yeah, mouse look in Doom is essential at this point, and I think for Fallout New Vegas, like people that overly mod it, like they're trying to turn it into a different game. Like Fallout New Vegas was designed the way it was designed.
That's how I feel about most mods. Like I see screenshots all the time of like people who have overly modded like Final Fantasy VII OG. Yeah. They're like, the graphics are bad. I'm like, no, they're not.
They're not.
They're perfect.
They're
like,
stylized.
I don't care that it's a weird mishmash of like 10 styles. Like that's part of its charm. And then I see these like fan rendered, like, no, that's not Final Fantasy VII. That's
where the
like
characters,
art, you know?
like where the cutscene sprites look like the CG cutscenes.
Right.
Like, no.
And one more thing about New Vegas, I've probably said it on here before, is that if you liked New Vegas, its lead developer's game Pentiment, that I think Bethesda, so it's Josh Sawyer's the developer. I think Bethesda told him like, go make the game you want as long as it's within a certain budget. And that's Pentiment, and it's phenomenal. It's insanely good. It's just a walk and talk half a step above like visual novel. Yeah. But it's one of the greatest video games I've ever played.
I'm probably gonna play it now that I've beat Fallout New Vegas. Only because to be I think specific, New Vegas was made by Obsidian and not Bethesda, even though Bethesda had acquired the rights to Fallout and they made Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas was a side project that they had a different developer work on. And Fallout New Vegas plays a lot like what you described, where it's like you can play that game without killing people. It's one of those games where like the choices that you make, and this is what people like about it, is that the short-term choices you make have long-term repercussions that will affect all of the game as you go through it. And like that's why people like it so much, is because you can replay it and do a different style run through every time. Now that's not new with Fallout. In the first 2 Fallout games, the same thing could apply. Where you can customize the statistics of your character. You can make your guy a complete moron, which unlocks new funny dialogue. Where it's like, instead of like convincing the lead villain at the end of the first game that he's wrong, and you can convince him to like essentially kill himself, you can instead be so stupid that he's like, I'm not going to bother talking to you, and then just, fight him. Fallout has always been a game about the choices that you make and the repercussions that you live with. That is the kind of the spiritual core of what Fallout is. And it's devolved at this point, where Fallout 4 is a shooter with RPG elements.
Interesting.
And it's lost a lot of that that spirit that the first game. And I'm not trying to sound like an old man where I'm like the games from 1998 are better.
No, and like that stuff you're talking about is the core of Pentiment. It's all like about the choices you make yield the story that will be told in your playthrough. It's like, and the other thing I've been spending most of my time on when it comes to video games is that my wife and Chibis are each separately playing through Breath of the Wild. And it's now just my new favorite TV show. It's just to watch them play that. But
to be clear, are they sharing a file or are they playing their own games?
Both going their own routes.
Very good. Very good.
It's just like whoever has access to time for the Switch, I watch them play.
Love that.
It's like been most of my video game time. And like I legitimately like if she's up for another video game after Breath of the Wild, I might have like her breather between Botwa and Tatke be like Pentiment, because it's literally like Pentiment is like sit in bed before bedtime, play it like a novel, like the book you're reading. It has that level of like richness and depth. Oh my god, it's so good.
I'm probably gonna start that when I go home.
It's fantastic.
And speaking of Breath of the Wild, campers, be sure and give a listen to our in-depth series, which was the beginning of Camp Video Games, where we talked our way through the entire game of Breath of the Wild, while also, for some reason, doing an in-depth review of every single episode of the original Legend of Zelda
we
cartoon.
Learned our lesson of whatever that process was.
Yeah, it's a growing,
Keep them separate.
Yes. Separate but equal.
Yeah. No.
Oops. Okay. I think that's all for today,
we should stop.
Be sure to give us a like and subscribe. Tell your friends. We love making new friends here at Camp Video Games. Send them over. Tell them, hey, if you're not an idiot, or hey, if you're a complete moron, you're going to love Camp Video Games.
Yeah, this is a show for stupid, smart people.
Yep. The present company included. I'm not wise. I'm struggling with all the horrible decisions I've made lately, but it's fine. Okay, that's all. Good day, good evening, good luck, campers.
Yeah, Camp Video Games will be back at some point
with something else.
We will have more. Don't worry. Peace out.
Bye.
If you'd like to write to us, send a message to campvideogames@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at Camp Video Games. If you want to become a real happy camper, you can support Camp Video Games on Patreon. For $5 a month, you'll be granted access to even more discussions about movie-based video games, game-based movies, full-length commentaries, playthroughs, and more. Whether you sign up or not, we're glad to have you here at Camp Video Games.